Hey everybody, good morning. I'm on with Michelle Rusk, the host of the Holistic Living series, interview series. It's coming up this week. Um, right, getting ready to launch. I'm sure you've got lots of stuff going on, so I appreciate you coming on to talk with me this morning. But I'm excited to share your event because you have a great lineup of speakers that you've interviewed. And sometimes I think when you're the host, it's good to also share your story. So I wanted to have you on and hear what inspired you to put this together. And I know, personal experience is a lot of work. So what motivated you to go to all that effort of interviewing people and hosting this event?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm excited. My gosh, my story. So a few years ago, I guess it's been more than a few years actually. It's been a while. I like to start kind of way back when I had my first son. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I was actually walking into the store. I was just going to a store, new mom, and everything was fine. And then all of a sudden I remember feeling, oh my gosh, what is that? Because I was holding him, my right side, actually, my right arm actually started to tingle and started to feel heavy.
Mm.
So immediately I was like, just had a baby not too long ago. Everything started going through my head. Am I having a stroke? Am I having a heart attack? Am I just being paranoid and, an anxious new mom? So that was actually one of my first indicators that something was changing in my body. And I sincerely think that I do think that, we talked about triggers in the interview. I do think that triggers have a lot to do with things that can kind of put you over the edge to becoming sick. And for me, I think pregnancy was, which I don't think a lot of moms necessarily think of, but pregnancy, when you really do think about it, there are so many hormones involved. Your body is just changing at a very rapid pace.
Mm-hmm.
And from that point on, I just was having these symptoms that would wax and they would wane. And when they would come on, I would be like, okay, here we go again. And then they would go away again. So it wasn't until actually the birth after my second daughter that the symptoms did not go away. So I could no longer ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had everything from, oh my goodness, joint pain was one of my number one symptoms. I had joint pain. I was getting headaches. I was more irritable than usual, a little bit depressed even, just randomly, moody, numbness and tingling in my hands and in my feet. I had a lot of just strange symptoms. Yeah. And funny to say, like nothing ever really manifested itself in my gut. But as it would turn out, it was my gut that was really sick.
Oh.
And I figured out that I needed to take wheat and gluten, white refined sugar, and dairy out of my diet. And in a short amount of time after doing that, it was like I was slowly getting back to myself. It was amazing. So my own personal experience actually really is why I'm bringing this to everybody, why I'm doing this series. So that was kind of a loaded answer.
Yeah, that's a good point, because a lot of people I work with too, they have headaches but they don't necessarily have gut symptoms, but it turns out that they're really impacted by gluten and the other foods. I know you have Dr. Tom O'Brien on the series, so you probably talked about that quite a bit. But yeah, it's always good to just share more stories about how it's not always so obvious that, you're running to the bathroom all day long, that you have a gut issue or a gluten issue. It can show up in a lot of different ways, and it's something just worth investigating, something worth trying at least, because it's not invasive to just change your diet for a few months and see what happens. So did you, how did you jump into changing that? Were you one of these people that like went cold turkey and changed over your whole kitchen, or were you like slowly lowering it a little bit at a time? And what did it take to really see a difference?
So I went cold turkey with white sugar and gluten. Those were the two things that I completely removed out of my diet, just right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was tough. It really was. And I can't even I can't even sugarcoat it, because there is an element that I think a lot of people also don't really think about, that there's a real addictive quality to sugar and to wheat. I mean, they have even shown that in sugar, your same parts of your brain light up as crack cocaine.
Mm-hmm.
And wheat and gluten, it actually passes through that blood-brain barrier. So it's definitely, I remember walking through the bread aisle when I cut it out, and I remember actually having some physical symptoms, like I would breathe it in and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up.
Yeah.
Because the smell would trigger it. So it took definitely a certain mindset and a certain, strength that I had to really implement. But my gosh, I would never go back.
Never go back. Well, you already had kids at that point too. So did you change it for your whole family, or were you like doing your thing and letting them continue to eat cereal and cookies and whatever kids eat?
Yeah. So in the beginning, in the beginning, it was more of like, let me change, and then let's see, who else is going to follow after that. So I'm not perfect. I'm human. I have 4 kids, and we eat very healthy. We do lots of whole foods, lots of vegetables. We grow a garden in the backyard that we're all involved in, which is one of the best things that I think anybody could really do for their health, grow a garden. But, we do, some things that a lot of people would be like, that's no, that's processed food,
Mm-hmm.
like I might buy some cereal for the kids once in a while. But the thing about it is we don't do it all the time. And the other thing about it is I pay very close attention to the ingredients. I look for preservatives. I look for a lot of the nasty, what is it, that the BQHT, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's a preservative, but it's really, it's a bad one. So there are certain things that I just really try to pay attention to. But that's also part of my series too, because it's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's not about being perfect.
It's not all or nothing, because you can't live your life in fear too. That has negative consequences. I know, from being like paranoid or fearful about all the foods that go in your mouth. Like, you have to find the balance.
Exactly. And that I feel is where I am now. Like, I feel like I have found that, that balance within myself and even within my family. So, it's not about, you would drive yourself crazy.
Yeah, there's so many things to worry about. So you had a lot of great speakers on your bin. I know Dr. Keisha and Wendy and even Sarnik. I've learned so much from them. Is there something that like really surprised you when you were listening to them and interviewing them? Is there something you learned that you're like, oh, I didn't know that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, actually. So Dr. Tom O'Brien brought up some really, really powerful points, because he made the point that in the next few years, we already know that we're seeing autism, the rates of autism increase.
Yeah.
And one of the things that he discussed was that in the next few years, we're going to see a diagnosis of 1 in 2 boys, which is it's staggering. I mean, it's very, very scary. And when he said that, I thought, my God, I mean, my kids, my oldest son, he's 12. We're talking about their kids, you know, when
Oh,
they're adults and they're having kids. So as a mom, that really made a huge impression on me.
mm-hmm.
The other thing that, you know, was really impressionable is that he discussed the fact that the male sperm count, due to all of the plasticizers and chemicals and everything that we're doing to the environment currently, is really having effect on their sperm count. And it's actually at its lowest point that it's ever been at. And it's at I don't remember the numbers, so you got to tune in to the interview because I don't remember that number. But it's at a tipping point where he actually says we are at a point where the human race, period, is in danger
Yeah.
because it is the sperm count is so low. So
Mm-hmm.
those were two things that were kind of mind blowing.
Mm-hmm. That
So
to really make some big changes.
yeah,
And
but you know, and the thing is too is maybe not so many, not maybe not so many big changes, but cumulative changes. If we could do it like as a whole, as a cumulative, you know, whole people, I think that we would see a huge impact.
mm-hmm. So is this really good for people that are just getting into healthy living, or is this for the health nuts? Or like if somebody wants to spread the movement, who should they tag and who should they like invite to join them?
Actually, everybody, they're both,
Yeah.
because they're all of my speakers give fantastic tips and solutions that you could really implement on an everyday basis, and they're
Mm-hmm.
super simple. Like Dr. Heather Paulson, one of hers was open your windows in your house for 10 minutes.
Hmm.
And it has a huge, you know, a huge impact on the air quality that we breathe in our house, because
Mm-hmm.
that's something else, you know, nobody thinks about the air quality. So we discussed that, and one of my other speakers also talked about that as well. So but it also goes a little bit more in depth. We talk about, you know, definitely the gut microbiome, hormones, and how it's all connected and how it all works. So really
Mm-hmm.
it yeah,
A little bit of
it,
something for everything. And then it's a little different than the overwhelming summit model, right? It's just spaced out a little bit more. So tell us about how it works and how somebody can sign up and why
yeah.
it's not going to overwhelm them.
No, actually, yeah, because I've seen some summits where you're watching or you're listening to like 5 interviews in one day, and I'm like, who has that time?
Guilty, but
But
yeah.
so no, mine is just to get access. First of all, you're going to go to holisticlivinginterviewseries.com, and that's where you can get access. You just put your name and your email into the box, and you will get emails every day, and then you'll get the access within the email. So all you have to do is just click the link in the email to get completely free access, because it's a free event, and there's only one speaker a day. So it runs for 21 days, but there's only one speaker for each day. So it's nice, a nice pace for everybody.
Yeah, it's something like you could just listen to on your commute or while you work out or something like that, and just kind of drip that content into your brain, and slowly but surely it kind of holds you accountable and is giving you the push in the right direction without being that like, oh my God, I have to learn everything this week.
No,
I like
no,
it.
yeah, that was my main reason for doing this, because
Mm-hmm.
I just I know how I felt in the beginning, because for me, I needed to make lifestyle changes because I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And part of this too is I want to help people that are maybe even in that prevention mode. You know, they're looking for ways to have a healthier lifestyle, you know, before or, you know, if they're kids, you know, even for their own kids and the health of their kids and their futures.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. Well, thanks for all of the work you put into this, and thanks for coming on to chat with us today. It was always good talking to you. I wish you much success with the event and hope that it helps a lot of people and impacts a lot of lives.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, Erin.
Okay,
So
thank you.